Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to a very long overdue video. It's really late at night. I'm really tired. And I've been working on a new audio setup that I hope you guys are going to enjoy. Sorry, it's been a million years since I've made a video. I think the last video I made was about Doom Eternal. It was, I guess you could say, an eternity ago. Yeah, that was a terrible joke. Anyways, Oregon's kind of a mess. We had a bunch of wildfires. Some fun stuff happened. It pretty much sucks to be us, but we're gonna, in the meantime, make something a little bit of fun. And I figured, one of my coworkers kind of got me into wanting to play and record again, and I said, you know what the heck? And I figured, I was talking about at one point making videos again, and I got some brand new, goodies. We're going to be using Sony Vegas for this to render. I've obviously got the microphone on an arm stand now, no longer just, listen to that, I'm banging the table, you can barely hear it. And, obviously in a new home, great new sound setup, comfy position. It's late, it's 8:47, it's my Friday. I don't even know what day it is. And we're going to play some NetHack. So you might be wondering, whoa, what is NetHack? And I'm just going to say, it's fun. So, obviously, 1985 to 2020, very, very old game. I've been playing NetHack for about a year and a half, and this is not going to be an ascension. I highly doubt this is going to be an ascension. I have not ascended in NetHack once. I played for about a year and a half. This is just a fun little, goody little teasery video thing because it's late and tomorrow I'm probably going to work on some real stuff. But for now we're going to be playing some NetHack, and I'm going to get hopefully into this character, getting some investment, if you will, and hopefully get somebody into the game. So we're going to be using a current version. This is actually the Curses interface. You can set this up on your RC file. It's a bit difficult if you've never played this before, but look up some tutorials online. Shout outs to ToneHack, great guy. I love watching his videos in the background of just working on stuff for when I'm trying to go to sleep amazingly. They're great. And, I think I found out about NetHack by PC Gamer's wonderful series a couple of years ago. It's really good. I recommend watching it. Absolutely amazing first game that they get going, and that's kind of not as exciting as my first game ever, but pretty high up there. So we're going to be playing probably just a quick video here. I don't know how long, probably until this character dies inevitably, because I'm tired and irrational and going to probably make terrible decisions here. And I'm not a NetHack let me put my teeth in here. I'm not a NetHack expert by any stretch. I know a chunk about the game, not the good, juicy chunks. The first I've ever gotten was Gehenna, and that was a complete disaster. That was... We don't talk about that. Let's go ahead and close RuneScape in the background here so I don't get bugged. Anyways, so let's start the game off by naming ourselves me. Why not? And no, we're gonna choose our own role here. Look at all these roles we can choose here. So NetHack is an RPG. It's one of the oldest ones. It's a traditional roguelike. And those of you who never played one of these games before, there's tile sets out there that make it fancy. There's no hentai waifu mods. Sorry. I'm sure you can just fill in the blanks with your imagination. But for now, we're going to be using the ASCII graphics using Curses interface. Nothing too crazy going on here. I have a few options set. I believe my fruit is tactical lunchable. You'll see what my pet name is going to be when we get in there. And of course, a couple other things, like I have item piles highlighted and a handful of other things just to kind of help out. I've played a few different versions of NetHack over the years. I've played 3.6, I think, and a couple others. Basically, I've been playing this newer patch, and it's pretty good. There's a lot of good changes here and there, small things for someone who's never ascended 100 times like everybody else. But still some noticeable changes for having played in the past, like gold is not as common. This game, by the way, if you're unfamiliar with rogues or you don't know how they work, This is an absolutely brutal game. There is no takesy backsies. You can save scum the game, but you know, no one's going to be like, oh, congratulations, you did it with like 800 tries. This is a very long, generally drawn out towards the end game. I've seen it played through. I know what to expect somewhat. If you've ever played Diablo or Diablo 2, there is actually a Diablo roguelike called Diablo RL, and I've also done a playthrough, a very botched playthrough of Doom RL with a tile set. I need to get back into that. I've been on a weird binge of old games lately because I've became complacent and old in like the 1 year of living that I've had here. So let's go ahead and explain what our roles are. So there's no mouse. You can use the mouse as an option, but I'm not doing that. So there is a lot of roles here. We're only using the keyboard and our wits about us. So I'm not going to be playing as a Valkyrie because I feel like that's a little cheaty. You know, everyone kind of says, oh, Valkyrie, lawful dwarf, and you just cheese the game. It does kind of make things a bit unfun, I think, for someone who's probably expecting me to do that right now. The furthest I've ever gotten is actually surprising with Barbarian. So I think I'm going to go with Barbarian here. Human and female. Let's go with neutral, and here we go. And we are in the game. So, it is written in the Book of Crom, after the creation, the cruel god Moloch rebelled against the authority of Marduk the Creator. Moloch stole from Marduk the most powerful of all the artifacts of the gods, the Amulet of Yendor, and he hid it in the dark cavities, that's an interesting choice of word, of Gehenna, the underworld where he now lurks and bides his time. Your god Crom seeks to possess the amulet, and with it to gain deserved ascendance over the other gods. You, a newly trained plunderess, have been heralded from birth as the instrument of Crom. You are destined to recover the amulet for your deity, or die in the attempt. Your hour of destiny has come. For the sake of us all, go bravely with Crom. And that's about as serious as the game's ever going to get. So, this is, well, NetHack. I don't know what else you were expecting. So, we are a neutral female human barbarian. That is us in the screen, the @ symbol. We have a dog, which we're going to see the wonderful name of in about a few seconds. The X is a grid bug. We're in a room. We are the plunderess. That is our rank as of right this minute. We have strength of 18, 18 dexterity, constitution 18, intelligence of 7, wisdom of 7, and charisma of 7. Neutrals are alignment, D level 1. We're on level 1. We have no gold, 16 HP, very, very little magic power, an AC of 7, which is pretty bad. We have 1 XP, 1 turn. Someone is honking a horn, having a grand old time out there. We have our inventory with the curses display set up here. We can see that we have a weapon. We have a battle axe in our hands. We have a short sword as an alt weapon. If we really wanted to use that, I'm actually going to drop that in a few moments. We have a ringmail item we're wearing. We have some food, probably some delicious barbarian meaties, who knows, and an uncursed oil lamp, which I'm going to hold on to for a while. So you can see all these things. If I hit I here, we can look at our inventory as well. That's the default key. That's actually a... What is going on out there? That is actually a curses feature I have enabled, is to have that side inventory. I don't really pay that much attention to it, but it's nice. So NetHack, if you've never played it, has a ton of controls. So let's go ahead and see a full list of the controls here. We have all these, and yes, they all have some function or the other, and we can also do things like extended commands like force, or you know, loot we can do from there. So pretty much there is a million controls in this game, and there's a lot to remember, but that's why I'm here, your helpful guide. That's not very helpful. So let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? So we have a dog, that's our pet. We're going to get into that in a minute. And that X there is a grid bug. We can also hit the colon key and pick an object and look at what it is. There's our dog, the bitch. Then we have grid bug. There's me. I'm just wonderful and just, oh, look at me. All that glory. And then these are obviously floors. And then we have unexplored territory. So let's get into it. Let's just move into it with the numpad. I'm hitting 2 here, missing the grid bug, and then killing it. So let's just keep going. So right next to us is also over here. This is the staircase up out of the dungeon. If we do this, it's basically like saying, you know what, I give up, game over. And we're not doing that for a while. You can only really come out of there with the Amulet of Yendor, which we're not getting that in like 5 seconds here. So NetHack is pretty intricate. It's a pretty, you know, it's a beefy game. There's a lot to it. And so right now I'm moving through some corridors. I'm not going to explain every single thing I'm doing because that would drive somebody crazy. So let's just go ahead and get to the end here. I'm trying not to play too fast. I'm also kind of tired, so that's probably a benefit to me at this point. Looks like we got a lot of empty rooms here. Let's just tap S for search to let our dog catch up to us, the bitch as it's called. And let's just see if we can find the staircase down. So as you go further in the dungeon here, we're going to be encountering more awful creatures, much better loot. There's a trap down there. That is a E-note. That means that is a alert monster thing. And of course the bitch is clumsy and tripped on it, so of course now everything in the entire floor in this area is going to be attracted to us as if they weren't already, which is fantastic. So I'm moving sideways as well using the 9 button on my numpad, 1, 7, 6. This is to save turns because we're actually going to get hungry here if we're not careful, because apparently this barbarian and every other character ever has the metabolism of, you know, a meth addict. So every 5 steps, basically, you're going to get starving. And one of the few ways to eat in NetHack is obviously you have food rations, you have fruit, which is pretty low, you know, nutritionally stable. You can survive off of it. You can make a vegan or vegetarian character or one or the other of those. There's totally things like that if you really want to get into it. You know, there's obviously corpses you can eat, which some are not so great, some are pretty good to eat. And we'll get into that in a minute. So up there we have a lichen. No, it's not a vampire or a werewolf. It's actually a plant. It's a little weird. So you can see that it's green. I do have color enabled to help differentiate things. I don't use tile sets either because, good God, I don't even want to try and relearn this entire game again. So let's go ahead and harass that lichen up there. We also see the staircase too. And we killed it. And we're going to pick up its corpse with the comma key, and now you can see if we go to our inventory, we have F. That is a lichen corpse. Lichen corpses do not deteriorate over time. They are kind of like lizard corpses, and I don't think, yeah, only lizard corpses do that too. There's a couple other I might forget. Please correct me if I'm wrong, I guess, as well. I don't want to give any misinformation. NetHack's great. There's tons of information, but I also think learning from your own experiences is what makes it fun. So lichens are kind of heavy. We can't really see their weight value here, but they're a little heavy to what their nutrition is, so they're not the greatest we can have. But for now, it's a decent pickup, and we're going to go ahead and go down these stairs using the less than symbol. And I'm just going to go down here to generate the floor. Now, I'm not moving right now in game. Basically, nothing is happening. Every time you don't move in NetHack, nothing happens. You can see T156, that's our turn. The game doesn't move until you put input into it. So if you're ever like, oh my god, what do? You always have at least some planning. So one thing that you can also do is if you go down to a floor, like you see a staircase, you go down it, you're going to generate that next floor. There's not going to be crazy nonsense if you're at a lower level. So it's generally a pretty good idea to go down there if you're at a lower combat level to what the floor starts out as. Basically find the stairs first. You know, it's a pretty good strategy. There's other ways to do this, but this is just the beginning. This is actually the most dangerous part of NetHack, is just that beginning. And I haven't played in a few days, actually. I've been playing a lot of old school RuneScape lately. Just kind of trying to get back into making videos, but of course, I didn't even notice I just killed a goblin. So we're going to hit E to eat it, say yes, and it tastes okay, I would imagine. And we killed a newt as well. And I thought I didn't kill it. I'm really tired. We're going to pick up the dagger as well. These are pretty good things to throw at creatures like floating eyes. But if you guys are curious, since that last video I made, I really haven't been playing too much. I finished Doom Eternal. Well, the bitch suddenly disappeared. Wonderful. Good job. That's fantastic. So that our dog fell down the hole. because it sucked. That could have been us, but, you know, to each their own. So, anyways, I've been playing Doom Eternal a little bit here and there, but, you know, I haven't touched it since it really came out. Looks like our dog found us again here. Ooh, a box, I'm hoping, yep. Loot, and we got a wand and a scroll. Let's see if we can curse test this. So you do not want to just randomly, willy-nilly read and pick up items that you don't know what they are. This could end really poorly in this game. So we're going to engrave test first. We're going to hit capital E, and we're going to write with that tin wand, and we're going to write, oh, it's a wand of digging, cool. So let's go ahead and just not type anything else then, that's fine. Perfect, so wand of digging is a wand that digs. You can just, you know, make a hole in the ground and go through it. It's also really useful for getting rid of boulders and carving an Elbereth. We'll get into that later. That's one way I usually test, is engrave testing wands. That's one way of doing it. You can also see in our inventory that wand of digging is now marked with I as wand of digging. We can also hit Z and we can zap it, but we'll get into that later. And we're gonna, well, let's go ahead and pick up this golden curse test this scroll. So you do not want to, like I said, just read and pick up random crap. That can be a really bad idea. A lot of NetHack is actually just knowing what is in your inventory. You do not want to go crazy and just, yeah, this can end really poorly really quickly. Like this scroll could be a curse scroll, a genocide, and I could just be like, cool, let's get rid of master mind flayers, and then the whole room's filled with them and I could die in like 2 seconds. This is the kind of game that lets you get away with that, which is arguably really scary to some people, but if you know what you're doing, it's really quite a rewarding experience. Let's go ahead and drop the scroll D, H. And so, if you've ever played Binding of Isaac or Rogue Legacy or anything like that, you'll notice that, like, the scrolls and potions in NetHack are kind of like what I'd call as the pill mechanic in Binding of Isaac, where each time you play the game will generate more, and they're going to end up just being random names each time you play. So Sturk, Pertst, Skirts, Kirk is not going to be the same as whatever the next game I play is. But for this specific instance, this scroll will be whatever this is. So let's just walk away from it. Looks like the dog picked it up, the bitch picked it up. And we're going to hit S here for search. Let it drop it again. Come on, dog, just drop it. You don't need it. You don't even have eyes. Well, you do. So we're going to name this by hitting Shift N, I, and then we're going to go to H. And we're just going to, I do this personally. Just label it as like a U. You can see here that I have it named Uncursed. So there's Cursed, Uncursed, and Blessed. And obviously Blessed is really good. Uncursed, it's fine. And then Blessed is pretty dope. There's a lot of various effects Blessed equipment can have, but we'll get into that later. So there's a newt over here. He just creeps on in, and we're going to get rid of him. Newts can give you intrinsic magic power if you kill them and eat them, but it's kind of rare. I find that they do make you sick a bit more often when you eat them, but that could just be me. Looks like we found the next floor. Just go ahead and generate that one. And we're just pushing right along here. This is a pretty good start. Nothing has really tried to harass us too much. So if you ever hit a dead end in NetHack, just hit S. And you'll start searching. Looks like that's a dead end there for sure. I'm pretty... You know, I think there might be something there, but I'm not even going to keep attempting at it because I'm pretty sure it's a bad idea. So there's a kobold zombie. Kobolds are poisonous by nature. You do not want to eat those. Those will probably kill you very quickly in the early game. And because it's a zombie, you can see there's a kobold corpse. You want to pay attention, unlike what I'm doing right now. Zombie corpses are always infectious. If you eat that, you will get deathly sick, and that's not a place you want to be in. So we're going to ignore that and let the dog just look at it too. Pick up a tripe ration. So tripe is, you know, sheep stomach, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty foul. I wouldn't want to eat it. Tripe rations are used for taming carnivorous creatures. Not all of them can be tamed. Like we have a dog here. If we ran up to another dog, like a jackal, we could throw this at it and become a pet. It really isn't worth it for things like that. You want to save it for something a little bit more important. Likewise with fruit, you can throw like pancakes at unicorns, and there's things, or ponies and stuff. You can do various things in NetHack, which we'll get into as we keep going. One thing about tripe is it's not edible for human consumption. If I try to eat this, it'll actually make me sick. I'll actually go into a really unfun state of being confused, and then I'll lose turns, throw up, and lose nutrition. If I was an orc, I could actually eat this and it doesn't affect me. And there's a slight XP boost if I actually did eat this. I'm amazed we haven't really got any XP this whole entire game so far. But also the tripe ration is going to make the dog stay to us closer, and that's pretty dope. So food can be cursed, I believe. It just has a higher chance of being rotten. Let's go ahead and eat this newt. Sweet. So the newt corpse tastes okay. You finish eating it, you feel a mild buzz. That means we got a little bit of power. So you see PW3. We've got a little bit of extra magic, you know, but we're a big dumb barbarian. We're probably not going to get very much. There's a jackal, I'm guessing. Yeah, let's go ahead and knock that out of the park. Eat everything, you know, just eat until you're satiated. That's my recommendation. You really do not want to be starving. It's not so bad early game, but the later it gets, the more not fun it becomes. You do not want to end up in that position where you are halfway down the dungeon, you don't have any food. Lots of players go to Sokoban for their first, you know, bits of food. But we're going to get to that later. Ooh, a nice potion early game. Cool. This could be probably not that exciting, honestly. So, looks like... Damn it, I wanted to keep that lichen corpse because I really don't have much food. I could, like I said, eat that tripe ration if we get really hungry, but I want to pick up some good stuff here. Let's let our dog see if that picks that up. It looks to be uncursed. Okay, good. So let's go ahead and name that to you, because you are the best. And let's go ahead and drop our potion as well. So D and K. And let's see if the dog picks that up. Yep. Looks like our doge picked up the pot, as they all do. We're going to go ahead and name that to you as well. Now, if we didn't have a dog, this would be really difficult. And this is not something you're going to do your first time playing NetHack, or even probably know you can do. Pets are really invaluable because they won't actually walk on cursed items. Well, they will, but it'll say in the chat message there, the pet reluctantly walks over something. It's probably not a good idea to walk over cursed things, because usually if it's a cursed item, it's on top of a trap, which we'll get into later. Those are pretty nasty, especially early game. There's also the spike poison pit, which is an insta-kill if you don't have intrinsic poison resistance. You don't really want any of that business. Personally, I don't want that, so let's keep going and keep talking about NetHack and life here. So we're getting lots of lichen corpses. That's pretty cool, I guess. I mean, we're a barbarian, okay? We have a pretty easy time here, but it's not as... let's see. So let's go ahead and change this. So this is a locked box. Normally, I'm pretty bad about traps and stuff, so let's just ignore that for now. Let's go ahead and wield with W. We're going to wield our short sword, and then we're going to go ahead and hit force. Oops, that's my wallet. Force. And that's the extension command for this. So, yes. And it looks like, yep, we succeeded. We'll hit L, Y, O, A. These are probably not that good. I'm going to leave that alone. I really don't care. I'm going to switch back to my battle axe. I'm going to hopefully get a cleaver here later on. So make things a little bit easier. So there's a boulder. So boulders you can move in directions that are like cardinal directions. You can't push them sideways, I don't think. And once they hit something that they can't move towards, you'll see this message here. You try to move, but in vain. They do exercise your strength a bit, so you can get some strength ups doing this, but it takes a while. It's generally pretty good as a strength exercise for weaker characters. I've only really played a handful of different character types, not a whole lot. So, and we hear a door open. There's probably a zombie on the floor, if I had to bet. There's probably one more of them creeping around here. You can move diagonally through boulders, and if you're wearing just a little bit less than like required, you can actually squeeze on top of them. I think Valkyries, when they start out, can do that. Gecko. Geckos are pretty boring, and there's an egg. Let's just eat it. This egg is delicious. Wonderful. I usually step on eggs because sometimes they can hatch and become a creature. I've actually been one of those poor people that have had a cockatrice egg hatch in their inventory. That's not the worst death I've ever had in NetHack, but I I really don't want to. Oh god, looks like we got a goblin again. So goblins, I haven't mentioned, are generally like orcs. They carry poison sometimes. But these guys usually carry daggers. Usually orcs use bows. Let's just see if we can kill. There we go. Another dagger. Let's just pick that up. It's cursed. Thanks for auto-identifying that, bro. Well, you know, it's about 25 here. I'm actually going to call this episode and just cut and make the next one in a few seconds. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Have a good one.